Hi Aquarius, welcome to your July reading and welcome to my channel. Aquarius, before I begin, I want to remind you that this is an overall reading, and in my style of connecting with these vibrations is to use a combination of astrology with numerology and tarot. Now, in the way that I connect with these elements, it's, sort of very spontaneous. So I haven't really gone to school to learn astrology or numerology. It's come from my own expansion in consciousness and doing a lot of the meditations, by just focusing on my inner being and accessing information that relates to working with these tools. So my objective here is to be able to provide you with information that allows you to understand your connections to the divine and how these celestial forces are going to affect you during this cycle, and then to check your energies and see where you're at. So I really hope that by the end of this reading you're able to feel better and more clear about what's going on in your energy world. So let's begin, Aquarius. So in this particular cycle, the sign that is affecting your thoughts is Sagittarius. Can you see it? Let's see. Sagittarius. And it's upside down. And when I have a card upside down, it represents the aspect of this sign that has to do with the shadow side as well as the unknown. So here's where I always remind you that we live in a reality where energy has two sides, the one that we know and the one that we don't know. And in the aspect of what we don't know, we also contain a lot of the experiences that we've had that we haven't been able to reconcile. So a lot of those experiences, we know them as traumas, pain. They carry a very low vibration. So it's all mixed in. So in order for us to work with the unknown aspect of Sagittarius, that it brings new information, we sometimes, Aquarius, have to transcend a lot of our inner negativity to be able to connect with the proper information. So this is all like relatable to our inner being. Does that make sense? So with Sagittarius, Aquarius, the ruler, the thing that we need to know is that it's ruled by Jupiter, which is a celestial body that represents expansion. And right now, Jupiter is with Uranus, your ruler, working in Taurus. Aquarius, when we have this combination, and this is, I'm just talking about the nature of energy, so I'm not really paying attention to the transits, which in astrology tells you the type of connections that these celestial bodies are having, how they're getting along, right? Just by looking at the nature of energy. So I'm looking at things from that perspective. Uranus, your ruler, is another celestial body that it helps us gain expansion. So as you can see, we have two cosmic forces that are working with Taurus, the sign that deals with our capabilities. Astrologically, normally Taurus represents our money, like our bank account, how we're doing with that. It represents beauty, our physical beauty, love. And we have defined Venus, which is the ruler of Taurus, in that way. But Venus is much, much more than that. In the same manner that it happens with Jupiter and Uranus. But I think what's most important to know, if you're going to get something from all of this, I think what's important to know is that right now your mind is going through a change where the idea here is to be able to expand in the way you think about things or in the way that you see things. And you're having it through Sagittarius, the sign that deals with the 9th house in astrology, that relates to our spiritual food. And that's just the way I like to see that house. It's the house that relates to our religious belief, what kind of beliefs we have about God, the universe, the magic within that universe, the mystery, right? So it definitely represents expansion. Now, in your sign, Aquarius, you have two rulers. You have Saturn and Uranus. And these are two cosmic energies that are very extreme and opposite in nature. So when we're dealing with your sign, we know that we're talking about an expansion that can be very drastic or very dramatic, because we're dealing with two life forces that are very opposite in nature. Saturn is all about structure, and Uranus is all about breaking away from those structures. And it's just one of the ways in which we are able to expand. Right now, we are in the astrological era of Aquarius. So your sign and your house is where the expansion of the collective is happening. And we're going to be there for about, I think it's about 5,600 years, like 5,600 years. And it represents spring. So there is a rebirth of energy in which we are kind of going through a spring that from earthly terms is going to last 5,600 years. We normally tend to think, oh, the first day of spring has to do with spring equinox, and we think that it's just one day. But when we look at the earth perspective of spring, it lasts around 5,600 years. Does that make sense? So in this particular moment, Aquarius, in the way the cosmos is assisting you is by, one, helping you go through a change that it's about, a transformation that you will feel it as a form of an expansion in consciousness. You may be curious about learning some new philosophy, or, it doesn't have to be religious, really. But it will be more geared towards understanding the nature of your life and your reality from a spiritual perspective. And when I say spiritual, it could also be energetically. You don't have to be religious to have these experiences. And here's where your instincts are going to play a part, a big role. Paying more attention to your instincts, paying more attention to your synchronicities. But you definitely are going to feel a lot of inspiration coming your way. Of course, you may have some tensions in your life right now that are worrying you, because there are many things that are going to happen to you unexpectedly. And that's how Uranus works. With Jupiter, everything is happy. Everything is cool. But with Uranus, you may have the darkest night of the soul, and that's the opportunity that you are going to create in order to have an epiphany or to have an awakening that will eventually allow you to transcend whatever problems or issues you're having, which is usually not issues that happen or began yesterday. It could be stuff that you may be dealing with them for the longest time, and you haven't been able to figure out a way of how to transcend them. And it could be also a generational problem, something that you inherited, and now you get the opportunity to fix it. Does that make sense? Let me adjust the camera a little bit more. I think that's a little bit better. I have so many cables here. Trying to be a technician here is not an easy thing for me. But anyways, here we are. So now when it comes to your emotions, you have Virgo. And Virgo is the sign that deals with the house of work and health. It has a lot to do with digesting information, digesting food, digesting air. So in many cases, you're going to hear astrologers talk about Virgo as your work environment. But when you take that information and you look at it from an energetic perspective, then this is about the environment that you're creating with the ideas that you're working with, and how you're going to organize those ideas and put them into practice. Remember that Virgo is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is the celestial body that represents a higher form of wisdom. It also represents communication, so how we communicate things, the means of communication, but also when we apply a wisdom that is going to be broader and deeper. Does that make sense? Is represented by the Virgin, which in this particular case is talking about purity. And we have to kind of get away from this idea, Aquarius, that purity or a virgin is only those people that have never had any type of touch or experience or connections. We can cultivate purity, and that's by being more selective of the food that we're going to eat through our senses, because our body doesn't only creates energy from food, it does it through the stuff you hear, the stuff you see, the stuff you touch. So in this particular case, the oracles are assisting you going through this process where you're being asked to be more selective about what you believe to be true, about, you know, the information that other people are going to share with you, to pay attention to your instincts, and also to do the best you can to remain light, to be light, be lighter, be more on the positive side, especially in those moments where you don't really know what is going to happen to you, or you're working outside your comfort zone. So this is not just about having a meal, but it's paying attention what happens after you eat that food, you know, how you feel. So Mercury right now is working in Cancer, which is, you know, we're going to have a new moon on the 15th of this month in Cancer, and this particular moon is very much connected to our ancestral lineage on our mother's side. So the power and the life force that we receive from our mother. In opposition, you have the air element. And this talks a lot about sudden changes. So for you, it could be very difficult to adjust to new ideas or new opportunities in which you're going to have to make a decision, and it's going to happen. It's going to be, you know, like in a situation where you're going to have to do it fast. You know what I mean? Also, the air element, you know, you got to look into the signs that are represented by air, because Sagittarius here is fire, Virgo is earth. Air, it also represents spirit. So definitely I feel like your reading, Aquarius, is all about the energy. You know, for you to pay attention to your energy, to your feelings, to your beliefs, to your intuition. And definitely the oracles are talking about the nature of change in this particular cycle, adapting to those change. And the best way to do that is not by over analyzing something or to bounce back into those situations that you're having that are negative, or how they're connected to your relationship with your mom. You know what I mean? Because sometimes we tend to struggle with situations that are happening to us now with situations that we've had in our childhood. And everybody right now, it's working with Chiron in our deeper wounds, the traumas that we have inherited from other generations. So this is one of those moments where you may have a very strong connection with an incarnation where you were persecuted during the time of Inquisition because you were a wisdom seeker. So a lot of the experiences that you might have had, Aquarius, in those incarnations, that fear or that pain or that feeling of needing to hide or needing to escape or needing to suppress your emotions or express your idea may come from that incarnation where you being able to do what you can actually do right now, you couldn't, because you would be killed. I also see you connected to incarnations where you travel a lot. And you did it as a means to learn about the planet. I'm being told as a researcher. So you know, you were interested in going to foreign lands and learn about the culture and research. You also connected to timelines or incarnations where you were a healer. So one of the things that I see in this reading with you, Aquarius, is that you may be suppressing your healing capabilities. You may have these talents, but you don't use them because you don't think they either not that important or that you just don't know how to do it. But the oracles are saying, well, this is one of those cycles in which you're going to be able to explore them if you are paying attention to your instincts and following those instincts. It's interesting because you're being connected here to the energies of ascended masters. So you have the wisdom and the knowledge of a teacher, and possibly some of you perhaps have had incarnations where you worked with an ascended master and you were taught how to work with your energies in your vehicle to help heal other people. So you have that quality, and that quality may come as a form of verbal knowledge, sharing verbal knowledge. You know, you have the Pegasus here also indicating the support that you'd be getting to be able to transcend a lot of those limiting beliefs that you may be feeling right now that have been so difficult to overcome. And this is not necessarily about needing to make all of these different situations perfectly right. This is more about you making peace with yourself and moving on. And by you making peace with these situations doesn't necessarily imply that other people are going to respond in the same manner that you will. Does that make sense? You in the same way, Aquarius, you in the same way that other signs you're okay, so let me rephrase this. You are being supported by your ancestors in the same way that other signs has been. That card is coming out for a lot of different signs where the oracle wants you to know that you're being protected by your ancestors. Especially, I'm being shown a male figure, somebody that has transitioned. Could be an uncle, could be a father, a grandfather, but somebody here is helping you to move through this cycle and be able to achieve the level of transcendence that you need to, so that you can get ahead. But a lot of this, I feel like, is so that you can tap into your well of wisdom, into those abilities that you have, your talents. Because I feel like you're being guided to, little by little, explore this idea of not just doing good for you, but doing good for the community. So you're going to go through a series of events where things are going to change very fast. And it's going to make you very uncomfortable. But remember two things. One, just relax and take some deep breath and follow your instincts. And two, the process that you have to put into place through, as you're exploring these newer ideas, practice makes perfect. So if you don't get it right away, and if you try the first time and it doesn't work, don't give up. Just tweak the formula, because that's all about Virgo. Also, this deals about, in the way that this could be expressed, is that maybe some of you may be feeling like you've reached a point where you want to change jobs and you want to begin a new profession. So if this is something that has been in your mind, you're being supported by the universe to do it. Does that make sense? So you may not know what that represents, right? You want to do something different, but you don't know how to get there, or you may have some ideas, but it's difficult because it's not necessarily coming straightforward. In the way that you picture it, or in the way that you expect it to happen, it's not. And now you're kind of discouraged and you're afraid, or you kind of doubt yourself. And the oracles are saying, just because you don't see stars in a night sky doesn't mean that they're not there. So you got to really trust yourself and have faith in the process. And this is where your spiritual beliefs comes in. Doesn't have to be about a religion. It has to be just about having faith. Or maybe you have a religious belief that is getting in your way. So the idea is that no matter what it is, you have the opportunity to access that belief and see if it's working for you or if it's working against you. If it's working against you, your opportunity is to say thank you for helping me out all of these years to create this type of reality, but now I no longer need you. And then we're going to do this. And this is one thing that the oracles are really talking about here is for you to pay attention to your environment, internal environment. Because when you are going through a change like this one, your vibrational environment inside you has to change. So you might have come, Aquarius, from a time where you were dealing with a lot of different relationships, maybe let's say work. You know, you were at a job that for a long time you didn't like it, but you were doing it anyways. And now you've come to that point or that place where you're like, you know what, I'm getting out of here. And you're, you know, taking the necessary steps to make that change. But your frequencies, your inside frequencies, your emotional frequencies are still vibrating with the energies that relate and are in tune with all the negative experiences that you're bringing from that job, and especially from all the time that you were there against your wishes and not doing anything about it. So you get out of the job, but your inner reality is still vibrating at that level. And now you want to attract something better, or you want to attract what you want, but your frequencies are not a match to what's new or what's coming. So pay attention to your inner reality and give yourself some time. A lot of times we have expectations that go against the frequencies of the things we want to achieve, right? So our frequencies are vibrating with the old while our mind is already directing and moving towards the new. So we're energy split. So your mind in this particular case may be already positioned in a way that it's bringing the new information. You know it, right? You see it. You're thinking about it. But your heart and your vibrations are still dealing with the past. So you gotta change a lot of these emotions and shift them now into what's coming. And that's a process that you cannot really set a time in a specific time and say that I can achieve this change in a day or a week. Sometimes you could do it in a split of a second, depending on how comfortable you are and how ready you are to the change. But sometimes you're not. Sometimes, you know, you make the shift, you feel good about it, but then the next day you got up feeling off, and you know, you didn't do anything to set some good intentions, and now your whole day you're in a mood, you're in a funk, right? And in that funk you start thinking about the change and you start having doubts. And now your frequencies are all over the place. And that's what the oracle is saying here. Pay attention to that. Pay attention to the conversations. Not because you want to get into all the details of why you're feeling the way you are. It's more about letting them go and transcending them. The whole collective is going through the same process. It's doing it in different ways, but it's going through the same process. Does that make sense, Aquarius? Okay, so now in tarot, let's just check how you're doing with your finances. How is Aquarius doing with finances? Aquarius and finances. You have the Six of Wands, you have the Two of Wands, you have the Ten of Swords, Nine of Wands, the High Priestess, and the Ace of Swords. So you have two swords here and two wands. Wands have to do with business, has to do with communication, and you have 8, which is the Strength card. So I would say that, yeah, some of you definitely are making some positive changes. And you have something in mind here, Aquarius. It's like you know what you want to do. And it's something very specific. But there's some level of hesitation here, and it could very well be because of what I said before, that things are not happening in the way you expected it. So you may have some doubts here. So you got to release the doubts, because you have the Nine of Wands here. So there's a lot of wands here, which is fire energy. You know, it's like strong desires. Like, this is excitement. I'm excited about doing this. And definitely with the High Priestess, you're being asked, please use your instincts. Got to release all that mental talk of doubts, or talking to people about this situation in a way that people are sharing with you information that is making you insecure. Intuition here comes with a master number. So you see the Ace of Swords here is showing a lot of mental, a lot of analyzing, processing information. So it's coming next to the High Priestess. So follow your instincts and then process the information, but don't overanalyze. So I feel like when it comes to your finances, you may be at a place where, you know, you have a project in mind that is going to help you improve your, you know, financial situation. And it's something very specific according to the Oracle. So whatever you've been thinking about, that's what the Oracle is talking about. And the Oracle is saying, you know what, follow through by paying attention to how your instincts are guiding you, and then pay attention to your mind. Because this is, you know, you got to sort of balance these two energy centers. But definitely, I would go for it. And I'm being told that you know exactly what it is. All right. So now we're going to look into love for the single Aquarius. Be also mindful of your pride. You know, sometimes our ego gets in the way and creates a lot of resistance and a lot of doubt. And it doesn't pay attention, you know, like when we are over analyzing a situation, and if we're doing that in a positive way, we tend to reject or ignore our instincts and override our instincts. So pay attention, Aquarius. You are one of the signs that can be quite analytical as well. And sometimes to a point where you can be very stubborn. But you guys like to take risks, definitely. You're risk takers when it comes to business and thinking big. And that's what I like about Aquarius. Okay, for the single Aquarius, you have the Eight of Pentacles, the Five of Wands, Five of Cups, the Empress, Two of Cups, and the Moon upside down. So we have two cups here. And it's being created by your fire element and your cups. Well, so I'm being guided to speak specifically with the single Aquarius that are feeling very discouraged in terms of your relationships. There's a power struggle here in the way that you're working with your emotions and your goals. And the reason being is because instead of being more present about what's being presented to you, or being more present about how you work with your fears and your pain, you're looking to the past. You're very distracted with the past. And that's what's causing the problem here. It's very interesting because the oracles are saying if you were to stop looking to the past, trying to figure out your future, and be more present, you have what it takes to find this Two of Cups here. You have what it takes. So, you know, I don't know. Let me just clear this Five of Wands, because definitely 5 is the Hierophant, the Hierophant. So we can be talking specifically about someone in particular. Actually, I'm going to clarify the Eight of Pentacles, because you're definitely looking at something to the past. Seven of Cups, Page of Pentacles, the Fool, and Nine of Cups. So I feel like, yeah, I think you're looking at some of the choices you made in the past, Aquarius, about love. Some of your indecisions. You know, you might have made a choice in the past about being with somebody where you fell in love. And that's, yeah. I feel like some of you still have feelings for somebody in particular here. And this person, ooh, okay. So there was some sort of situation with somebody in specific where you still are carrying the emotions of that connection. And you may be asking yourself if, and this is not for everybody, okay? But some of you perhaps may be asking yourself if this person in particular that you're thinking about is going to come back. It's kind of like waiting and see. And it's not like you don't have opportunities right now. But you're some of you are very distracted with somebody in particular here. But it's very interesting because, oops, I picked the wrong card. Where's the Empress? Here it is. Okay. So, interesting. I'm also feeling, the cards are telling me, Aquarius, that in some cases here, some of you might have been with somebody in the past in which you spent some time together with this person and you got pregnant from that connection. And now you're kind of struggling and trying to figure out what to do because there is some disconnection going on here. So you have Seven of Cups here with these 2 cups, which talks about the Chariot. And then let me see. 13, you have the Death card talking, even though it didn't come out, which talks about change and, you know, starting fresh. You have also the Wheel of Fortune. So, you know, this is talking about timing. So yeah, I feel like some of you are really having a power struggle here, trying to figure out what to do next. And like I said, in some cases there is a residue of this relationship because somebody, you know, either was surprised of a pregnancy and now you're not knowing how to, you know, deal with the situation. But for some of you perhaps has to do with stuff that happened to you in the past where you haven't really resolved and you're having a difficult time letting them go. Eventually I see you doing it, but then you go through a phase where you don't really know how to open the door again. You know, I see the Moon here upside down. And the Moon here, see, it's the same cards again. Yeah, I will tell you, I am connecting specifically with Aquarius that are thinking about someone in particular. You have somebody in mind, and for some of you, you're, you know, sort of at a distance, or there is a separation and you're kind of wondering if this person is going to come back. You love this person, Aquarius. I feel like some of you, you love this person, but you know that this person is not necessarily the best person for you, or maybe this person doesn't want the type of relationship you're looking for, and you're really trying to work this out. You're really trying to work this out. And I'm hearing, you know, is the importance of participating of healthy relationships. No wonder we have the card of the Oracle here. Consulting to the Oracle, and it's upside down. As I said before, and I'm going to repeat it again, in the way that you're being brought about going through this change and transformation at this level, because we're talking here about major expansion, is going to come for a lot of you through a very rough and uncomfortable and painful experience. It may be through a significant other, but it's going to be what you need in order to find the answers. Does that make sense, Aquarius? So let me just check real quick what's coming in this particular situations. Well, there's going to be some sort of communication between the two of you, and it's going to be difficult because you're still going to struggle with your emotions. And the Oracle is saying here that a lot of this comes from, a lot of this pain comes from your insecurities. Remember, Chiron is in Aries, so we're working with our wounds, deeper wounds. So this is a trigger. So be patient in the process, because a lot of what you're getting from this is so that you can become more stable. And it talks about strength, having the strength, learning from your experiences so that you can take it into the present moment or towards the future and transcend all of the stories that represents pain. All right, so let's get into the Aquarius that is in a relationship. What's going on with Aquarius in relationships? You're being also asked to take some time for yourself and do some meditation, Aquarius. Especially when you're feeling really agitated or stressed or worried about what's going to happen. You got to really work at releasing and surrendering to the changes. There's a difficult time here, I feel like, about changing. So for those of you who are in a relationship, I see here the potential of starting a new phase in which the two of you are going to discuss, or you're going to make some agreements in working together towards a common goal. And this has to do with finances. Yep. And it's going to be for the better. It's going to be definitely for the better. It's also going to make you, you know, like more connected. More connected. I feel like some of you are quite indecisive about which route to take. But be patient, because definitely the oracles are saying here that you're going the right way, Aquarius. You will find the clarity that you need. It may take a little bit of time, but it's definitely going to bring a lot of happiness for the two of you. This could come, like I said, in different ways. Just pay attention, because, you know, maybe the plan is to move to a different state because you're being offered a job in a different state. So maybe your partner at first may not be open and receptive to that change, or vice versa. But eventually you're going to be able to work it out. Does that make sense? Okay, so this is the advice of the Oracle for Aquarius in this cycle. 4 of Pentacles, 4 of Swords, 9 of Cups, 3 of Wands, the Emperor, and Death. You have 2 major arcanas here. So the oracles are saying, you know, there's 2-4, right? It's always talking about balance and harmony. Balance and harmony between your actions and your words. So very important, actions and words. Where are your actions in regards to your words? and weigh your words in regards to your actions. And it talks about feeling clear and content with these elements, you know, bringing together these two elements in harmony. Emotionally, you have to, you know, feel comfortable mentally, and yeah, emotionally. So we're definitely looking beyond. I feel like some of you definitely comes through as you're moving to a different state or to a place far away from where you're at, maybe a different country. And this is definitely going to bring a change, a major change in your life. New beginnings with the Death card here. King of Wands. Yep. Something that you're really going to want. It's going to be scary. It's going to bring a lot of doubts. And it's not going to be a straight path. It's going to be like some windings on the road where eventually, yeah, you and your partner figured out, and you both are going to, yeah, it's going to be a really positive thing, but it's going to take some time. So just be patient with the process, okay? You're definitely getting a lot of support here about how to work this stuff out, Aquarius. So thank you so much. I wish you the best of luck until next time.